The next section we're going to look at on our administrative toolbar is reports. Clicking on reports gives us a listing of some of the more important things we need to know about our Drupal site, like any available updates, recent log messages, a listing of all the fields on our entity types. We'll learn more about fields soon. There is a status report, along with top access denied and page not found errors, top search phrases, and some of the plugins that our views might use. Go ahead and click on Available Updates. We'll get a listing of all the things that might need to be updated. We'll also see that we haven't checked for a certain amount of minutes. This check is automatically initialized by cron, and running cron may be something you need to set up on your server. Running cron from your server is outside the scope of this course, but rest assured that Drupal by default will run cron every 3 hours. You can configure this by visiting Configuration, System, and then cron. Notice that Drupal provides a link for you to visit from outside of the site, which will run Drupal cron by visiting that link. If you're curious about cron, you can learn more by visiting this link near the bottom to read the cron tutorial on Drupal.org. Okay, going back to the reports page. The other 2 reports I encourage you to get familiar with are the recent log messages report and the status report. Recent log messages detail actions and errors which have happened on your site. It's incredibly valuable for investigating issues and troubleshooting. By default, Drupal keeps the last 1,000 records. Of course, this can be changed. To do so, visit Configuration, Development, and Logging and Errors. Here you can change the number of log messages to keep. I find that usually the default 1,000 is sufficient. Also note that you can allow error messages to be displayed. Displaying errors can be beneficial in development environments, but is an obvious security threat if you allow them on production. So be mindful about when and where you display error messages. Lastly, let's visit the reports listing page once again and conclude this video by viewing the status report. Understanding and reacting to this status report is especially important on production servers. Here, I can see a few warnings such as configuration files, experimental themes, and a warning about media. Because I'm running this site locally, I am comfortable ignoring these warnings. On production, I would fix the configuration warning, and I would have a risk tolerance in place for the other warnings. Here's a pro tip. One of the most useful habits you can get into is to Google the exact text of messages provided by Drupal. This will very often lead you to solutions and actions you can take to address the message. For example, I'm going to highlight and copy and Google this exact text here for the configuration files warning. Then I'll Google the text. As we can see, we are not the first to encounter this message, and there are plenty of solutions provided for you to investigate. Okay, going back to the reports listing, there is not much more to show you here. Get into the habit of every so often scanning the recent log messages and status report so you know the health of your site. All for now. Nice work getting to this point. Happy learning.